believe me when I say our focus must always be on these people here. You see that picture? The ordinary people of Papua New Guinea. Am I right or am I wrong? And as I say, Hawkes the Great, our Prime Minister is one of the greatest orators upstate in Papua New Guinea, and he's got a fantastic memory. And let me tell you, even if there's only an audience of two, myself and Arthur Somaya were sitting with him around a table in his office, and he still spoke for an hour. He still took the time to talk down the whole history of Papua New Guinea from A to Z and all the political happenings that went on. The guy's got an incredible mind, but not only that, he loves to talk. That is his gift, you know, and it's a blessing. And he's a very, very hard-working Prime Minister. From my observation, I think he's got just boundless energy. You know, that is a massive plus for our country, isn't it? And I think he's full of love in this country as well. But we love this country. We love Papua New Guinea. We've got so much hope for the future. And I say again and again, Lord, please focus our minds. There's so much talk, as I said, there's so much planning. But can you please focus our minds on the ordinary people of Papua New Guinea? All the wealth that has passed through our hands. How has it translated? Plans after plans. Talks after talks. We spend so much time flying around the world 10 times. When I negotiate Papua Energy project, you know what? My brother John Poirier is here. I never flew overseas to France or Paris or anywhere. I negotiated here in Papua New Guinea. Within 18 months, we turned that project around. And what's happened to that project, we'll talk about. That's another topic. Otherwise, let's keep talking, people. No. God bless you, God bless the University of Papua New Guinea. Professor House, thank you. Your continued commitment to this process, this update dialogue, and of course through you and McDonald and all the former high commissioners and the people of Australia, we really, really appreciate their steadfast help to us, their partnership. Through many, many years, Australia is always there. Always there. We may complain about certain things, aspects of the relationship, but you know what, they're always there. Okay? So thank you for this dialogue, and I hope I can add some value. My phone went off yesterday, and my laptop is long lost. And I thought it was a plenary. I thought I was going to sit there and we're just going to have questions and talk. I didn't realize it was a speech or a presentation. I might have made an overhead PowerPoint and written something. But unfortunately I didn't, so I just scribbled something in some bits of paper this morning. So please forgive me if I ramble a little bit, but I want to acknowledge you all, and his absence, obviously the Prime Minister and obviously the High Commissioner, the Chancellor of the University of Papua New Guinea, Robert Igara, my countryman from Milne Bay, from Aria on the north coast, where we got many times in a boat up and down the heavy seas, and you see the shipwrecks at Point Burumia there, and our long-suffering people in those remote areas. You know, the Chancellor and the faculty, you've got a new Vice Chancellor from Australia, and I hope that works out. Well, Serba Philemon, I'll come and visit you in Buyebu or Buimo or Dili or whichever jail it may be. You're not going to jail, who's going to put you in jail? When we acknowledge you, you have a good name in the record books, doesn't he, everybody? We still think about you in good terms. Good name, honest, hard-working, got things done. It's the kind of leaders that we need, huh? Less talk, more action, I keep saying. You're one of those, Subat. Don't feel down, although you did make me feel a bit depressed this morning. No. Everything he said was very, very true. Corruption is one of the symptoms of the issues that we face in terms of governance. Okay? But it's, to me, symptomatic. Many, many symptoms, but the causality is that's the issue. What is causing all this? Why, after all these years, countries like Israel is only a desert, 22,000 square kilometers, surrounded by enemies on all sides, no resources, 583 US billion economy, 25th biggest economy in the world. 27th in terms of Human Development Index, 0.91 Human Development Index. Papua New Guinea, 442,000 square kilometers. All the abundance of resources in the world. We have everything. We are surrounded by friendly people, not Islamic countries sharpening their sabers and trying to kill us. We're all the wonderful friends in the world. What is the size of our economy? 32 billion US dollars. What is our Human Development Index ranking? 160th out of 192 countries, as Sir Bart was telling us. What's the difference, for goodness sake? What is the difference? If God has blessed us such, why is there that huge disparity after 50 years? Israel has had 77 years since 1948 when you and the mandate. What does it come down to? If you were a business person, what would it tell you? There's an issue with management, my people. There's a management issue. It's how we're managing our resources. It's how we're empowering our people, the most important aspect of that resource. The management issue. I'll just tell you a little bit about this wonderful, brilliant document that's for you. But I can't tell you too much. Maybe the Prime Minister has gone so I can now reveal everything. And say lots of bad things about the government as well. Credit to the Prime Minister. He's initiated this work at our 50th anniversary. And within a very short time, we've tried our very best to come up with something practical and useful that doesn't simply repeat the process of another NTDP or another Vision 2050. We've tried to dig to the underlying causes, you know. We have a fantastic steering committee, deputies Arthur Somaria, and we have relied on local institutions. At the back of this document, the Prime Minister was waving a document around from the NRI, PNG's Development Performance Review 1975 to 2024. That's commission on this work, he didn't mention. Okay? We've got the CIMC involved, Consultative Implementation Monitoring Council, that does the consultations with the public. They have done a report for us within these 2 months, or within a month actually. We have the UNDP sent a high-level delegation over here, led by Dr. Philip Sherlockins, and did a high-level review. 49 consultations, we have come up with this, this document. I presented to Government Caucus. Don Poilier was there, and he gave some wonderful response remarks to this document, and we appreciate that high-level thinking. Father, Grand Chief, Dr. Sir John Mombas, thank you for your kind remarks today. He wrote the forward to this document. Exactly what he said today is contained here. And we've taken a lot of guidance from him in terms of the importance of the Constitution. Our governance framework that is already there, established by our forefathers, and how we've drifted away from that basis, that foundation. There's been a significant erosion of our constitutional principles, and that is at the heart of really the accountability and governance issues that we have. So 2 months, I will get an opportunity at some stage to come back and present it here at UPNG. But at this stage, I just want to read to you the 5 principles that have come out of this review in terms of what's guiding it. And then subsequently, there are 10 big bet interventions, because it's based on the UNDP bold building opportunities for leadership development framework. And so we have come up with 10 big bets to try and make it succinct and concentrated, but there's at the same time some quick wins behind it. So principle number 1, restore the sanctity and integrity of the Constitution. Restore the sanctity and integrity of the Constitution. Okay, and that's a theme that's going to be resonating starting from last week at the UPNG's celebration of the introduction of the accepting of our Constitution. And the words from all our leaders will hear this point resonating all the time. It's incumbent upon us to look back at that Constitution, to study it, and to understand it, and to see how we've drifted away from it. There have been some 41 amendments to the Constitution. And our document talks about the overreaching of executive government. The fact that the balance of powers between the 3 arms of government has been severely eroded. Executive government has assumed a dominance over Parliament. Parliament does not perform its functions anymore. There is no legislature. It's just a rubber stamp for executive government. Politics has permeated nearly every aspect of our government system. Nearly every aspect goes back to the minister, goes back to the Prime Minister. That's the reality. So the undermining of the Constitution in the first instance, the 3 arms of government. And we make propositions, again, based on Westminster parliamentary democracy-based solutions. We're saying resist going to things like a presidential system, which will only focus power in executive government, entrench a president. If we are going to respect the Constitution and the Westminster parliamentary democracy, we must rely on solutions that are founded in those principles. Okay? I'm not going to go too much, but we have quite a number of solutions there to temper executive government, to promote decentralization of provincial governments, To promote gender empowerment. Why? They're holding your 5 foundational guiding principles in the Constitution. Okay? Sir Cecil Abel, my grand-uncle, had a large part to play in writing that variant of the Constitution. If you look back at the 8-point economic plan of the Pangu Party in 1968, when he wrote that, it ties very closely with all those features of the private directive and guiding principles in the Constitution. But we, as scholars, need to go back and study the Constitution and understand that the basis for our issues lie, or the improvement of our issues lies in the Constitution. Number 2, advancing human development and the family. Okay? Number 3, leveraging data and evidence for decision making. That's a big theme of these updates. Too many of our decisions are based on emotions, or nationalistic type, or political type, further. Not facts and figures. And I don't want to go on too long, which I always tend to do, but I want to give some examples of this. How we lose billions of PNG. If you talk about growing the economy, billions of PNG are lost simply because we don't make decisions based on common sense governance principles or business principles. We just have some emotional idea or nationalistic idea. We're going to take back PNG, which is a great sentiment, but it needs to be underpinned by facts and figures. What is going to be the best economic outcome should be the priority. Don't we need revenue, don't we need economic growth, don't we need jobs? You cannot make decisions over the lives of people based on emotions or politics, justifying it for reasons other than the truth. Too many of our government decisions are made on that basis. I sat in cabinet. We've gone all the time there. We argue often against certain things. But the cabinet was dominated by a strong prime minister. Cabinet was dominated by people subservient to the prime minister. They wouldn't listen to certain truths. I was going to talk about the UPS loan. We lost 900 million PNG. People have gone around arguing we cannot invest public borrowed funds in the resource sector. We cannot buy also shares with public funds, borrow. We're going to subject public funds to the stock market, particularly the resource sector stock market. Hello? Would you do that with your own money? Would you go and borrow 100% and invest in also shares? It's too risky, people. But these are the kind of decisions that are made in cabinet. People like John Collier get sacked over. Too many of our decisions result in losses to the country because they're not founded on evidence. Number 3 principle here, leveraging data and evidence for decision making. We've got to entrench that somehow in the government policy. Number 4, enabling smart, sustainable, and inclusive growth. Economic imperative is not equal to repeat. The economy is simply not growing at a rate that is sufficient to cater for this growing population. Okay? And we're in a demographic time bomb. We're in an arc of instability. Read this book. Read the UPNG report that we'll make available. This is a wonderful book, by the way. Congratulations. Oh. And you know what? He made this book available to us 2 or 3 months ago. So we had the benefit of the knowledge of this. And we relied heavily on this book in this report. I can tell you, Stacey. It's an excellent work. Congratulations, Brock. Free of charge. That's amazing. Significant work. So enabling smart, sustainable, inclusive growth. You know, people, we haven't had an FID on a resource project in 16 years. Are we interested in economic growth? Investors are sitting there. They want to do things. I negotiated the Papua PNG. We had a project agreement signed back in 2019. What has happened to that project? I'll tell you what's happened. 6 years have gone by, and the cost of that project escalated by $6 billion US. It is now uneconomical. Why is it not happening? Because they're recrunching the numbers. They're asking the government for better terms and conditions. We negotiated the best terms and conditions. Why did we stop the project? I don't know, politics. Was it based on facts and figures? Was it based on the imperative to grow the economy? Provide the revenue for the government, to sustain the people, to provide the roads and bridges? There's been no FID signed on a significant project in 16 years. How serious are we about it? Are we going to keep talking all this? Can somebody actually get some work done? 18 months I negotiated Papua PNG. Others tomorrow negotiate PNG LNG. It has delivered 32 billion PNG benefits so far to the country since 2014 plus production. trillion of that money has gone where? Kumu Petroleum. Kumu Petroleum. We have no sovereign wealth fund. We got Kumu Petroleum. Kumu Petroleum is funding soccer tournaments and X-ray machines and heart surgeries. And there's another government going on, Don. Constitutionally, all public funds have to go through the budget process in Parliament. More and more of our funding is off budget. Why? It's a government issue. It's an executive government issue. It suits executive government to have money not passing through Parliament. We serious about doing this money? Wakigoku is hanging there. Papua is hanging there. PNG is hanging there. What else? You name it. Free River. We don't want to rely on extractive industry. But if God blesses us with, you utilize it because you people are making babies every day. And we've got to take advantage of what's before us that God has given us and convert it into benefits for our people, and it includes a sovereign wealth fund. Our proper sovereign wealth fund. Not a quasi one. Nobody knows what's happening to money. The Treasury is telling us warrants are going one way, and there's no money. Regional government, how much funding have they received? 15%, 30%? Local level governments have received 15% so far. Now, August. You're applying for money, and then half of our money is going into non-parliamentary processes where boards of directors and statutory authorities make decisions on significant amounts of public funding. That's unconstitutional, people. Hello? We've got the relevant sections in this book. Number 5, ensuring accountability, transparency, and impact. Okay? Another whole topic there. Okay. As I said, I'll present this later. It's quite a detailed work. At the same time, it's quite simple. And we're not going diving into corruption and all that. We're trying to address the high-level issues that if you get those right, it'll cascade down into better accountability, better budgets, better reporting systems. You know? As long as you can hold people to account, they'll perform better. And as I said, we've tried to respond to the NEC with value that speaks to the issues. It doesn't repeat the same old process. So we've not changed Vision 2050. We've not changed the DSP Development Strategic Plan. We've not changed the Constitution. The NTDP still stands. Those priorities and programs are still good. We just try to address why those plans are not being implemented. Why are we 160th on the Human Development Index? Why do we have multi-dimensional poverty? Why are 51% of poverty children suffering from stunting? Stunting. Do you realize how serious that is? They are not adequately fed. There's insufficient protein in most of our children's diet. So Papua Guineans are growing up underdeveloped, fundamentally in a biological sense. Because they haven't had nutrition in their diet. This is the human development crisis that is going on at the moment. And all the numbers back it up. Okay? All the numbers back it up. As the Prime Minister is saying, we're not making these things up. It comes from the article, UNDP, ANU. We've got to be honest about these things. We can't flop around and say everything's fantastic. It's not. Yes, we love this country. We're happy to be still a sovereign nation, haven't had a massive war or, overthrown by some despot. But still, it's not, the performance is not good enough. It's not good enough. The lives of our people are not improving at a rate that correlates to our constitution or our development plans. And the question is why? That's what we try to answer here. Okay? I think I'm going to wrap it up. I was going to give some other examples, but I might have hurt some feelings. Or maybe I will give one more example. Shutting down the Portrait gold mine. Record gold prices. When you have a gold mine in hand, an operating mine in hand, you never shut it down. Particularly if you've already negotiated a good deal. Okay? I've already negotiated 61% net free cash flow return. Based on royalty, not equity. There's too much obsession with equity. Equity costs money. Equity is for private sector. We government don't have to take equity. We can take equity, but we take it free. We don't go around the world borrowing loans and getting ourselves tangled up in meetings overseas and everything. To take our benefits from projects. There was no need to shut the Portrait gold mine down. I would say at a bare minimum, 3 to 4 billion it cost our country, probably more. Okay? With all due respect, I say these things. If you did an economic analysis, and I've been trying to get the numbers on that deal, I want to see the numbers. Assessments must be made on facts and figures. What did it cost us to get that equity? Exactly. And then look at all the opportunity costs. I'll just come back to this business. Data driven. Quickly, BSP Bank. PNG versus BSP. What does that lesson tell you? Look at the raging success that the BSP Bank is today. Thousands of employees, dividends flowing, flying the PNG flag around the Pacific and South Asia. PNG before? Just political board appointments and a complete basket case. The superannuation industry example, those reforms. Independence of the central bank, and how the superannuation industry is booming today, benefiting thousands and thousands of public unions, mobilizing capital, spurring investment. Why? They removed the politicians out of the boards. They made the central bank the oversight agency more independent. They allowed governments to work. It's another example. Papua, I've already given you that example, and I'll give you the example about where a lot of our money is going. Prime Minister mentioned this, and this comes out of this book by Professor Hounds. Since independence, average growth rate, real average growth rate in GDP is 3%. Professor, it's not 0.3%, it's 3%. But on a per capita basis, it's 0.3%. That is, when you factor in population growth, real economic growth rate since independence is only 0.3%. This is insufficient to drive development to the standard our people expect. Okay? And I say this again, we are in an arc of instability where more than 50% of our population is now under 25 years of age without opportunity, necessary opportunity. This is a time bomb. If we don't address it, what are those young people going to do? And every young life that you destroy, that you don't give the opportunity for, we leaders are guilty. Okay? We have our part to play. At the same time, I always say, I always go back to individual. You have to play your part. What sort of man or woman are you? What sort of father are you? How do you look after your own health? How do you behave? Change always starts with us. And that was the PNG Guinea. Kita saudara, itu Papua New Guinea. You have to do your part. And the leaders also have to pull their socks up, quite honestly. Because most Papua New Guineans, they're like this. They live like this here. They're not like us hanging around Port Moresby and having really coffee and all that. No, they're in the village, struggling. My district is a huge district, 7 local level governments, 10,000 square kilometers. And I've been to every village in my district. Well, I'm not remembering. They kicked me out because of whatever reason. I still was the best.